All right, it's 7 o'clock, everyone. Welcome to tonight's regular council session of the Village of Vicksburg at 7 p.m., July 15, 2024. I call this meeting to order. If you would please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll take a moment, and if you're of the praying sort, just I would ask that you pray for this great republic we live in. We're in some pretty trying times right now. And if you would, Kristen, if you do a roll call, please.
Trustee Olson.
Here.
Trustee Kissinger.
Here.
Trustee Reister. Here. Trustee Wagner.
Here.
Trustee Fields. Here. President Pro Tem Keller.
Here.
President Crispy.
Here. So we have an agenda in front of us, and there's a couple of additions here. We've got scheduled appearances. Mr. Mike Fredericks with us. He wants to talk about the municipal building. On 10F, we want to talk about fourth quarter emergency amendment. 11E, add the agreement with Brady Township, consent to use the right-of-way for the extension to Spruce Street lift station. And was that it? Was there anything else from the council? Hearing none, we'll have entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
What was amended?
Second.
We have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. We have an agenda. That takes us to scheduled appearances, and Mr. Mike Fredericks is here with us tonight. Thank you, Mike.
And thanks for allowing me to speak to you lovely ladies and gentlemen tonight. Beautiful night out, right? No rain. So that's nice.
Yes.
So I just want to take a minute to say that we have finally come to a point where we consolidated all of our final invoices to the village for this fine building. And as a result of the leadership from the Village of Vicksburg, our superintendent, our project manager, I'm here tonight to report that we're able to give you a little over 1% credits back, almost $30,000. Those monies came from credit for supervision dollars that we didn't use, some credits for some disposals, some energy consumption that was less than what we projected, and various what we call general condition items that we had included within our budget. Our process is very transparent with the village. We sit with Jim each month. We go through the billing. We explain to him what our costs are prior to invoicing the village, and then when we get to the end of the project, to the conclusion of it, we go back through it internally in our office, audit it, and sit back down with the client and go back through it. So good news. We're really excited to do that. We don't get that opportunity on all of our projects, so kudos to the village staff. I mean, there weren't a tremendous amount of changes, which helps control the costs. And we didn't run into unforeseen soil issues, things of that nature, which are always a risk when you're coming out of the ground. So I want to thank you for allowing us to provide construction services to the village for this facility. And the other bit of good news is August 7th is a ship date for sound panels. And I have to admit that the weak link on the sound panels was me. It sat on my desk and I was off on some medical leave for a bit. But we're on it now. It'll get taken care of, and I think you're going to be very happy with the end result of that. So hopefully you won't hear echo so much. So, right? Questions? So once again, thank you.
I do have a comment before you leave. I was talking to someone in government probably an hour and a half ago, and it was after I had met with Morgan and on those numbers, and had told him we're talking about this building, and focused on the fact we financed it with cash, but more importantly, I concluded with, and it came in under budget. which actually the person felt was more impressive in today's construction time. So really a lot of credit to your team being on top and keeping us apprised, so thank you.
Thank you so much, and I will pass that on to the rest of the staff, so much appreciated, so.
Yeah, many thanks, Mike, and your team. It was awesome job.
So with that said, if you don't need me, I'm back on flood mitigation, so.
Thanks. Thanks, Mike. Well done. And I see Wendy Mazur's in the group. Wendy, would you like to take a minute?
Hi, everyone. Wendy Mazur, County Commissioner for District 8. I just have a couple of little announcements. Of course, tomorrow night we have our 4 o'clock Committee of the Whole and the 7 o'clock General Meeting down at the County Building. And then we are having a special meeting next Tuesday, well, Tuesday the 30th, to start discussing budget priorities. And then save the date. I think you probably all got the postcard, for the Pratt Justice Center. They're going to be having their opening ceremony on September 7th. And I'm not sure exactly what time. I don't think it said on there. But, and then one last thing, the Wolin Nature Preserve is scheduled for a soft opening on August 17th. It's over on Texas Drive. And the hours for the soft opening will be Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to sunset. And then they're planning a full opening sometime around May, where the hours will be regular park hours then, 7 days a week, just like the other parks in the county. So thank you very much. They're doing a lot of work out there, and so they're doing a great job. So thank you.
Thanks for the update. This is the time for citizens' comments for any agenda item. The time would be now to speak if you would so desire. Seeing none, I'm going to pass on my comments, other than congratulations to Frederick's Construction for getting us in under budget. Phenomenal building. We have a general consent agenda in front of us. It's minutes of our regular session meeting June 17, our work session of the same, and warrant reports and event requests. Was there any corrections or comments to the consent agenda? If not, I entertain a motion to approve.
Trustee Wagner, so moved.
Trustee Reister, second.
We have a motion and a second. We do a roll call, please, Christian?
Trustee Fields.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Reister.
Yes.
Trustee Kissinger.
Yes.
Trustee Olson.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller.
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. Thank you all so much. So we have in front of us some action items tonight. Jim and I have this 11A, the floodplain resolution. So I'll let Jim speak to that.
Yes, it's was sent out with your packet. It is, Christian might need to help me out here, but it's, let me get to it. It is it the state or entire county that, the state, so it's to be updated with a state expectation. So we had to the end of this month to approve this resolution. Has been reviewed by the village attorney, and recommendation is for a motion and support and approval.
So moved.
Trustee Fields, I second.
Any discussion around it? It is something that's in place and been in place, and I thought it was just going to be handed off and reestablished, but we, as a council, had to make this resolution to approve it. So we'll do a roll call, please, Christian.
Trustee Kissinger.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Olson.
Yes.
Trustee Fields.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller.
Yes.
Trustee Reister.
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. That kind of takes care of 11B also. We have 11C. Jenner Weil, I would like to make a recommendation to appoint Jenner to the Planning Commission and DDA. Jenner was one of the individuals that took place of all of our 6 Citizens Academies. Very, very engaged young man. He is happens to, his alma mater is one of my good friends. Although my friend was a 69 graduate, so I don't think they crossed paths. Jenner, pretty young man, but I think he just lives down the road from me. We've had opportunities to talk quite a bit, and Jim and the team has interviewed him and talked with him and comes with high recommendations, so I'd like to put that out for,
I think it's noteworthy too that on his own initiative, he participated in the Citizens Governmental Academy this year. So took time out of 6 weeks there to learn more about the village and that.
yeah, he was very engaged during that whole process. And an amazing thing, that's brought 2 people to our committees already, just, 6 events by just showing the community how we run the business and what's involved day to day. And so it's a great opportunity for people to learn. So I have a recommendation for Jenner Weil. Is there a supported motion to support?
Trustee Wagner, so moved.
Trustee Kissinger, second.
We'll do a roll call, please, Kristen.
Trustee Fields,
Yes.
Trustee Reister,
Yes.
Trustee Kissinger,
Yes.
Trustee Olson,
Yes.
Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. So library board recommendations, I'd like to put out there Mr. Ron Smith and Susan Frisbee. Both of them are longtime residents. Ron was a trustee for years and years, downtown business owner, and Sue Frisbee, an avid reader, and she's brought a lot to the table, I believe, and a lot of compliments from the library board and what they're doing and what they're accomplishing as a team. So would like to make recommendations to reappoint both those individuals.
So moved.
Support.
Is there any discussion, or?
Tim, are they the current appointees?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yep.
we're just renewing their
We're just-
appointment?
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
I would just like to say that I've worked with both of them, and they are wonderful representatives for the library board, doing a really good job.
Thanks. Yeah, she's very, very excited about what they're accomplishing there, and
We have a very good board right now, very proactive and really enjoying it.
fiscally sound, too.
Yes, very. Yep.
All right, so I need to jump back to 11B. I kind of covered that, I thought, in the first, but we need to talk about the floodplain ordinance.
Point of order,
To make it
we have
a
previous
vote.
question. Let's get this done.
Okay, boss. So we have motion and support. We do a roll call, please.
Trustee Reister,
Yes.
Trustee Kissinger.
Yes.
Trustee Olson,
Yes.
Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
Trustee Fields,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. And the flood plan ordinance,
So moved.
11B.
Support.
Any discussion? We'll do a roll call, please, Christian.
Trustee Fields, Trustee Reister,
Yes.
Trustee Kissinger,
Yes.
Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
Trustee Olson,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller, President Frisbee.
Yes. So it moves us to 11E, the consent agenda, consent agreement with Brady Township between the Charter Township, Brady, and Village of Vicksburg regarding the use of a designated public way for specific public utility infrastructure. And I'm really, really happy to say and pleased to say that we have an agreement that both parties have signed. Both been going through many, many different, well, we haven't signed it. We need a vote of approval for we can sign it. So that's where we're at tonight. But we have Brady Township and the lawyers have all said, yes, we approve of the wording. And so that's what we need tonight is our agreement for resolution to accept this.
So moved.
Support.
We have motion and support. Any discussion or any?
Just want the rest of the council to know that this has been has been worked on for about probably 2 to 3 months by staff. So I really appreciate their efforts in getting this across the finish line.
Yes. So we have a motion and support. Barring any further discussion, we'll do a roll call, please. Christian?
Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
Trustee Olson,
Yes.
Trustee Reister, Trustee Fields, Trustee Kissinger,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. So it moves us to 12, Mr. Manager report.
Yeah, I wanted to update the council real quick on the road work for this year. We had, back in June, notified you it'd be the month of July. The company, before the overlay comes in, there's a company that fills the cracks, potholes, that type of prep work. They have notified us they can't be in till August, the first week in August. So obviously, we're looking now at the month of August of this work being completed because that has to be done first. But it is on the schedule, and I just wanted to update everyone that it will, our anticipation is that's completed by the end of August. But second item is, and again, it's our first meeting of the month. I wanted to discuss an important project that's going to significantly impact our community, and the council's well aware of it, but it's a lead line and water main replacement project. We internally have described it as kind of phase 1.2 of the overall plan to replace lead lines throughout the village. The project is due to, or scheduled to begin next month with some tree removal where the water mains will be placed, and continue as long as the construction season lasts, going into November. It is anticipated, if trends are normal, when the construction would be completed. It will pause in the winter months at some time and be completed by the end of May 25. This project encompasses roughly the section of the village between Richardson Street and Wilson Street on the west and east, as well as Prairie Street and Rose Street on the south and north. The majority of the water mains in this area date back to between a significant portion were installed in 1935 and a secondary large portion in 1955. There were a few spots that were installed in the 1960s and one in 1997. The water mains are between 69 and 89 years old, and while their expected life cycle is between 70 and 100 years, we face the critical challenge due to an unfunded mandate from the state of Michigan that oversees infrastructure such as this. In 2018, Michigan instituted mandatory legislation requiring municipalities to replace all lead line components that could potentially cause lead contamination. This mandate gives municipalities a 20-year window to complete these replacements. Although some municipalities have delayed starting this work, they will eventually have to comply, likely at a higher cost due to inflation and increasing price of materials and labors. The municipalities that have not made any investment into upgrading the sections of their water delivery system that fall under the state mandate, which we're 6 years into, are very short-sighted in my opinion. These municipalities will come to a time period that a substantial increase in utility rates will be forced upon their users. Believing that 100% funding for any project from an outside entity will occur is not logistic or realistic or being honest with oneself. Much like it was in Vicksburg in 2018, there was a 10-year time period of very little to no increases in our aging system. The leadership of the village knew then that an investment would have to be made, however, chose the option of simply kicking the can down the road. I applaud this village council who took the time to become educated and informed on this topic and assigned our professional team to come up with a plan, which included doing everything we could to find outside funding sources and to comply with the mandate from the state of Michigan, albeit unfunded. We all understand the impact of the expense of a common good or service increasing, and have all experienced the inflation the past few years. Cost of common necessities such as gas, food, or housing, the cost of cable, Netflix, or similar providers, the cost of operating a utility system, much like all of these services and products, has increased substantially as well. Other factors are are certainly the unfunded mandates placed on small municipalities by the state of Michigan, as well as some of our own actions, either in keeping up with the systems or utility rates, as well as our partners that ultimately process and dispose of our wastewater. A new treatment plant would be estimated at between $30 and $50 million to construct. It's simply not an option for the village of Vicksburg on its own. Those that suggest otherwise are naive to the cost to construct, staff, and operate such facilities. With the expectation placed on us by the council, as well as our own desire and motivation, we have attempted in every single infrastructure project to locate and submit for outside funding wherever and whenever possible. Our water and sewer systems are independent of the general tax revenue, and each is an enterprise fund that operates on the revenue it generates. This is a significant reason that we search extensively, as we do, for outside funding dollars for investment projects involving water and sewer. We're proud to have received approximately $6.2 million in outside grants for $12 million of committed, necessary, and required infrastructure projects and upgrades that are in the pipeline. It's over 50%. We anticipate an additional $4 million congressional directed spending in the 25 federal fiscal year to be formally approved this fall. The total will be $10.2 million of a total $17 million investments that were required for our system and with the mandates from the state. That's over 58% funding from outside of the village of Vicksburg utility users for the necessary or required projects. We commit to this council and the residents we serve a continued effort in securing outside funding for lead line projects in the future. And specific to the project that will start next month, the estimated cost for our upcoming project was initially $3.1 million. We began looking at this project 3 years ago. After a competitive bidding process, we were able to reduce the project to a cost of $2.4 million. I'm pleased to report that we have secured significant funding to help cover these costs, easing the burden that would have been placed on our utility customers. We received a $1.2 million grant from the Kalamazoo County, and we self-identified $365,000 from the village ARPA funds to allocate towards this project. We went through the process to secure a $1 million loan that would cover the balance and contingencies from the USDA at a favorable 3% interest rate, which at the time of submittal was the lowest interest rate available. As a result, over 50% of the $2.4 million project cost is funded through grants, significantly reducing the financial impact on our residents. Securing these funds was not easy. It required extensive preparation, collaboration, and a willingness for the village to have a local investment in each project. Grants and congressional designated spending are highly competitive and require demonstrating a strong commitment to your community's well-being, a sound financial stewardship track record, and a commitment to fund a portion of the project yourself. Despite these positive efforts, there will still be a need for a utility rate increase, which was presented to the village council in June and approved. The rate increase covers the remaining investment and ensures the project's successful completion, as well as the ongoing maintenance and operation cost requirements that I spoke of earlier. I understand that any increase in rates is challenging, but this project is essential for the health and safety of our residents. Replacing these aging water mains and lead components will ensure that our drinking water remains safe and that our infrastructure is reliable for years to come. It also complies with the unfunded mandate we receive from the state of Michigan, as all municipalities have. We do not control the timeliness of another municipality investing in projects that are required by the state. We are not in control of other municipalities who elect not to invest in these projects, with a stated reason being they don't want to increase the rates to their utility users. It would not be right to compare the increased rate structure in the village of Vicksburg with these other municipalities that have yet to make the required investments. After the completion of this project, we estimate that we will have approximately 220 lead lines replaced out of a potential 650 to 700 within the village. The village simply does not have accurate historical records that date back to the 1920s when the system was originally constructed. On that note, we submitted and received a $600,000 grant from the state of Michigan a few months ago, which will provide the funding to identify all lead line components that are in the village so that we can have an accurate account. This was a non-matching grant. Therefore, we needed no local dollars to complete this study. We anticipate the results of the study will be presented to the council by the conclusion of this year. We sent a letter to all utility customers notifying them of the increase for the 24-25 fiscal year and the reasons behind it within their last utility statement that each of you received this month. In conclusion, while the utility rate increase is necessary, please know that we have worked diligently to minimize its impact by securing outside funding. Your support and understanding are crucial as we undertake this vital project to protect our community's health and future. Some may wonder why I'm making these comments tonight. Because unfortunately, today, Teresa had to experience a citizen within our lobby that can only be described as unhinged and out of control. And it's unacceptable to occur and will not occur. People have their right for freedom of speech, but they have to do it in a reasonable manner that's acceptable. And with that, I thank you for your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions of staff?
Jim, one more time, what was that percentage of total grant funding versus the total cost?
I think by the end of the year, it will be 58%. As we currently stand, it's hovering right at 50.
That's outstanding.
So.
We have been very fortunate, Jim, in the efforts you've put in to secure outside funding, and I don't know if we give you enough credit for doing so, but thank you very much.
Mr. President.
Sure.
I think the residents need to understand too that we pay these utility bills too. We don't get a discount because we're on the council. We pay the same bills, and I understand the impact of these bills. But this is something we've been talking about for those of us who've been on the council for 4 or 5 years. This isn't new. This has been coming for quite a while. And, you know, I applaud the staff for doing everything they've been able to do to minimize the impact, because this, and I've said it I don't know how many times, this is an unfunded mandate as far as the lead lines go. State of Michigan's not going to come and save us on this, and they're expecting to have it done in 20 years. And other communities that haven't started on these, shame on them, because there's no guarantee that there's magically going to be funding for it. So.
Very good. Thanks again. So it moves us to committee reports. I don't think there was any update.
The only update is that we have set a meeting in August, and we want to be able to get 25 trees planted this fall. So that's what we're working on now.
All right. Parks and Rec?
We did have a meeting, and we had another movie in the park the other night. That was Elf. It was well attended. The kids had a great time doing a snowball fight. The next movie is set for Friday, August 2nd for the kids. Sing. We're going to do some karaoke. Be fun to come on out if you guys want to come on out and sing. And then Friday, August 16th, we will be doing our grown-up date night movie downtown, which will be Ferris Bueller's Day Off. There will be an 80s costume contest. There will be 80s trivia before the movie, and that'll take place down in the social district. So get a sitter and come on out. It's going to be a lot of fun. I do want to really quickly we've had some great support for our movies in the park. You talked about the library board. Susan Calloward is at every event. She has handouts for the kids. She asks them questions. She makes them think. She has always got it themed with the movie. Kalamazoo County State Bank has come out to every movie. They have juice and handouts for the kids. This time the movie was Elf, and they had a cutout. The kids could get their picture taken in the elf face, so very fun. For our date night movie, we've already had all of the restaurants and bars downtown jump in with offers of special dinner specials, drink specials, and some gift cards for the winners of the costume contest. And then Dane is at Distant Whistle is going to do the trivia beforehand. So the support that we're getting for these has just been phenomenal. And as word gets out more, the crowds get a little bigger. So it's a lot of fun. Thanks.
And the date night, again, just for everyone?
August 16th, and that will be downtown.
What's the karaoke going date?
August 2nd. So the activities start about 8:30, and the movie starts at dark, so.
Thank you much. Katz, I think you attended on my behalf last time.
Yes, I did. I left my notes in the truck, but the biggest thing that I can recall is that I voted not to have a meeting this month. So I actually made the motion. So all kidding aside, they talked about various projects that are going on in the county, road construction. They did talk about 131, the direction is being changed here in the near future. And then the microbus, the Metro Micro, they're trying to expand that a little more. So, and a certain individual talked about a bridge again. So there you go.
There's a planning. Did we have a?
We did.
Yes, we did.
We did have a planning commission. We did have some action items. We went over the site plan for the Berg Car Wash, and it was approved by the planning commission. We also addressed corrective zoning. We just addressed it, so just brought it up to the planning commission's attention. And finally, they did nominate people for positions this year, and those are all nominated. They will be chosen next meeting.
Thanks for the update.
One update to the car wash, we can anticipate, we had, with some of the Eagle oversight reference to phase 1 or phase 2 results of calling a brownfield committee board, which you're all a member of, as looking at Jared Balco putting together a plan to remediate some of these costs, and versus a grant, it could be at a level $75,000, $80,000. So we would actually create a local, not state, but a local TIF plan to recapture that investment. So you can anticipate that coming forward.
Yeah, you know, the lot is empty, but 80 years ago, there was a coal storage facility there, and then fuel oil storage, so you never know what you find when you get into these Phase 1 and Phase 2 plans. Sewer is next Tuesday, and fire is this Wednesday. So those will be on our,
And President Frisbee is reminded not to miss that meeting for me. And the gentleman from MI class is going to be there to speak, so hopefully the fire board will jump on. So
Right.
if you can give the village's perspective, I'd appreciate it.
yes, sir. All right, thank you so much. So that takes us to citizens' comments. Time for non-agenda items. If there's anyone that wants to speak to anything in here that's not on the agenda, now's the time to do it. Seeing none, I'll move to trustees' time. Mr. Olson, Trustee Olson?
Thank you, sir. Needless to say, what we've seen in the last 3-4 days is nothing but history, and it reminds me of 1968 all over again. Years ago, I had to give a lecture on crime, and one of my topics I talked about was bullies. It seemed like we got bullies on every corner nowadays. And that geeky kid, that bookworm, that kid with the thick glasses, that gets picked on at school or gets picked on in society. The students I talked to, I said, you got to start thinking twice about this. Reel it in. Because that geek that you're picking on, that bookworm, someday is going to grow up to be a cop. And he's going to arrest you for the crime that you just committed. A kid's going to grow up to be a lawyer. And he's going to try and defend you. Another kid's going to grow up to be a prosecutor. He's going to prosecute you and put your butt in prison for as long as he can. That other little geek is going to become a judge, and he's the one that's going to sentence you to prison. And when you get hurt in a car accident or a shooting or whatever, that doctor or nurse that's going to attend you is that kid that you picked on. The guy who comes to your house and fights the fire and rescues you and your family. He's the guy that nobody thought much of, would never amount to anything. These geeks and these bookworms don't deserve to be picked on because they're different. Trouble is nowadays that these geeks and bookworms that everybody picks on, that they bully, become mass shooters and snipers that try to take out a future president. And the trouble is, it's happening more and more. How many school shootings, how many mass shootings in this last week, in this last month? So, I want people to think about that. I was picked on when I was a kid. I was 160 pounds soaking wet when I was a senior, and I had a 6'3" high school athlete with scholarships to Michigan State University for basketball and football. And he beat the living snot out of me in front of the boys' bathroom just because it was fun. He did it in front of all of his bullies, or his buddies. And he got up and turned around and walked away. And I finally said, I've had enough. And with both my nostrils bloodied, I jumped up and ran, and I tackled him, and I hit his left leg. And that kneecap on that left leg wound up on the side of his leg. He just lost his scholarships. He went on to become a fighter. He went on to become what he thought was important. He moved out of state, got into a fight, and almost beat a man to death because he was a bully. And he died in prison. The trouble is we don't think that much about this. We have bullies in everyday life. We had one come in here today. I got approached by one this weekend, a guy from Vicksburg who got off on me because he didn't like the way the council was running things. And I said, great, you got something to say right there. Right there is where you say it at. Because we can't do anything about anything unless we know about it. The more you talk about it, the more you can solve the problems of our community and the communities throughout the world. So, I've got friends in Lansing. I've got friends all over the state of Michigan. I have a bully come after me again, I'm going after them. And if it means their job, if it means putting them in place publicly, then I'll do it. And I may not be much of anything, I might be a small-town councilman, but I can tell you what, my friends hold high offices in the state of Michigan, and they can and will back me up. So that's not a threat, that's a promise. But anytime that I see somebody being picked on, I'm gonna stand up and say something about it. The trouble is, we all have to say something about it. So, thank you, God bless America, and God bless our future president.
Thank you, Danny. Trustee Kissinger.
No comments.
Trustee Fields.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. We brought up the Citizens Academy tonight and how we just recently had 2 people come out of that program and will be really good assets for some of the boards that we have. I hope that that Citizens Academy is something that we can do again. And I invite every resident in this village to attend, to know what is done by all of the people that are up here on the council, by the village staff, the police, the DPW, everybody. Jim gave us a really great, in-depth explanation tonight, and I have a hunch, I know where that came from, as well as the episode with Teresa out here in the lobby. We try to be as transparent as possible. The chairs out here in the audience, more times than not, are empty. These meetings are on the calendar. Everyone is welcome to come. If you can't make it in person, we've got them on YouTube, doing them live. There's absolutely no reason why our village can't be very informed about everything that's happening. And when I say informed, I don't mean by the bits and pieces that get tossed out on social media, because I would hope that most people would recognize that that really is not the best place to get your information. Also, as far as talking to the council, when I first came on to the council, and we did some work sessions, and we said, you know, we really want to get out there and be available for people to talk to. So we made a point of setting up every night during the Berg days. So there's a table out there, and there will always be 1 or 2 of us at that table at the Berg days. Stop in and ask us questions. We'll be happy to answer it, and if we're unable to answer it on the spot, we'll be happy to take the concerns back to the people that we know can answer it. There is no one's trying to hide anything or be, deceptive about anything. So, like I said, come to a meeting. Don't get your information off of social media. That's it.
That's the easy
Thank
way.
you.
Trustee Wagner.
No comments this evening.
Trustee Reister.
Well, I would like to invite people on this Berg Day. I'm going to be in the council tent, and I would be happy to answer any questions that anybody had. And if I can't, I'll find somebody who can. So please come on Wednesday night. Wendy and I will be there in the tent, and we'd be happy, very happy to talk with you.
Thank you. And not to be left out, President Pro Tem Keller.
Really, I'm being acknowledged. Well, yeah, I won't be there Wednesday night because I'll be heading up the UP on a bike trip. So, on some happier news, next week is the all-important Lions Club B&B Festival. Starts Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with Haramania. Thursday night, I'm anticipating the public safety and the fire authority to have their touch-a-truck there for the kids. If they can make that happen, that would be awesome. The kids love that. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll send a reminder out to the chief, both chiefs on that. Also last week, had a lot of excitement down Prairie Street. Had a high-speed car chase that I got to witness. I heard the car go by originally, got up to see what the commotion was. The sheriff's officer was in hot pursuit as Buford Pusser used to say, or whatever the guy's name from Smoking the Bandit, but the guy did a 180, came back down the street, and for about a half a second, because my Herbie Kirby was sitting out there, I thought about wheeling it out in front of him to slow him down, and then I thought, nope, because either he would hit a telephone pole and sue me or whatever. So I figured the authorities that are best positioned to take care of it, take care of it. I'm thankful that nobody got hit or hurt through the middle of town. I know I reached out to Jim about it. He said, well, thank God we didn't have the Berg days. I said, if we had had the Berg days, he'd have been SOL, because we had heavy equipment parked at every intersection, and he would have been nowhere to go. But I am thankful that nobody got hit, and so that was a good night for Vicksburg. That he went through, and it was Portage's problem after that, I guess. So.
All really, really good comments, and yeah, thank you, Scott Sanderson and his police force, and Jim, when you put together the protective study, how you protect the citizens in these large events, and now we know why the vac truck is sitting where it's at and the backhoe is sitting where it's at. So, yeah, he would have wound up crashing or avoiding Vicksburg altogether. So, really good comments tonight. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.